Well, trade really is the main sticking point, Stuart. On the EU side, they really want to reduce a persistently high trade deficit. By the last count last year, we're talking about 304 billion euros. Brussels blamed structural issues with China's industrial model, namely huge subsidies in certain sectors. For example, the electric vehicle market. Accusations Beijing denies. On the Chinese side, they want easy access to all of the EU market, no tariffs, no barriers. The war in Ukraine, of course, is also casting a long shadow too. According to China, the EU is simply over-politicizing the issue, whilst Europeans don't actually expect Beijing to align itself with the bloc. They just want China to crack down on Chinese companies selling so-called dual-use goods to Russia, so goods that can be used for both civilian and military purposes, as well as the banks that are enabling these companies. Last but not least, rare earths have become a real issue. China has been announcing bit by bit more and more export controls, and Brussels is furious. Commission President Ursula von der Leyen describes the policy as coercion and blackmail. But, you know, at this European summit, leaders might try to secure export licenses for European companies, permits at best. But at this stage, there's really no expectations for a major breakthrough on any of these matters, because the EU and Beijing right now can't really seem to see anything or agree on anything or see anything eye to eye.
Yena, you mentioned rare earths there. How's it become such an issue, if you like, in these bilateral relationships?
Well, as you know, rare earths are crucial to anything that's related to technology. They're necessary to make telephones, smartphones, the TVs, computers that you might be watching us on, to the innovations in the defense industry or renewable energies and much, much more. China produces 70% of the world's rare earths and refines over 90% of it. The EU specifically relies on China for almost all of its rare earths. China has slowly been rolling out curbs and controls on its precious materials for years now, back in 2023, 2024, and again earlier this year in April. Though this policy wasn't specifically designed to target the EU. In fact, the April announcement came right in the middle of the US-China tit-for-tariff trade announcements. But the fact is, when Beijing makes it much harder for foreign buyers to acquire Chinese-produced, Chinese-refined rare earths, well, the EU is immediately impacted, as the bloc has a lot of innovative industries and is a big buyer. So it really is safe to say that Beijing has a monopoly, and now it really is flexing its muscles. And because the EU just cannot catch up overnight in mining and refining rare earths, the bloc really does find itself in a very difficult position.